Okay, so we're out here, and for the past couple days we've been building single strand high tensile fence. We can consistently build about 5,000 feet of this a day. We got about 7,000 feet one day, a few less the other day, but it's really nice high tensile fence. We have got it refined to where it's basically faultless. You can't get a dead short on this if you tried, pretty much. Single strand high tensile. We've got this ratcheting style tensioner in there. And then right here we've got a hookup for a spring gate. So we still run insulated wire around here just as a double safety, but this is going to just be an eyelet for a spring gate. That's pretty dummy proof. You can't really get somebody that comes in and hooks to the wrong thing and shorts anything out. Couldn't if they wanted to. So the way we've got our corner posts is we've got a piece of pipe driven down into the ground, and then that's sleeved with a piece of 3-inch poly pipe and a metal cap on top. And that just this poly pipe is enough to be an insulator, so we don't have to insulate anywhere in here. We don't have to do double U's, we don't have to do any of that stuff. We just tie directly to this poly pipe. That wire right there is hot. So even if somebody comes from that other side with a spring gate and hooks it in right here, and they hook it to that, it'll still be fine. But we went ahead and put this here just to keep it a safety, make sure nobody's doing anything dumb. So we're gonna hook one side of the spring gate to this, the other side of the spring gate over there. So these spring gates have the Zammer handles on them. So we can hook in hot to hot right there, or you can bring it in here and hook it cold. This one is actually a switch gate. So if I need to do a repair going that way, I can hook it cold, and then that part of the fence will be cold now because this gate acts as a switch. So hot to hot, these spring gates are pretty awesome. They usually span somewhere around 20 feet, something like that. And then all of our posts are this same style. Very simple, very easy to do, and it's gonna hold up really well. This is another style. We went ahead and put a double U in here anyways. That's it. Even it's kind of useless. That double U is doing nothing. Like I said, that's all the insulator we'll ever need, but we went ahead and stuck it there anyways. Just kind of a redundancy. Pretty pointless though. All right, so again, we've got 8 feet of pipe. It's driven in the ground about 5 feet. These corner posts sit at 36 inches to the top, and then this wire is hung at 32 inches, and we put a post every 100 feet. So let me show you our posts really quickly. We've got 1.25 inch fiberglass posts. So there's no way that anything can short there. There's no way that anything can short on those corner posts. These are our posts. We take 1.25 inch fiberglass and run it in the ground. It sits at 32 inches to the top. And then this is a poly insulator. It's blaze orange, so it really helps with visibility. You can look right down the fence and see every single post. It helps a lot when you're running a new place and when it's on a lease. It helps a lot because you don't have people running over your fences all the time. So 32 inches to the top, and then this wire hangs at 32 inches. It runs through a cotter pin through that post. That also functions as the stop. The top of the post is here. The cotter pin hits the top of the post and puts this to stop and hangs it right there. And then I am consistently, every time I move cows, I move them under a wire pretty much. Even if I have a gate, I move them under the wire. So what I do is I just come up here and I grab this pop it off and put a pop-up in there and let the cows run through. Then when I'm done, I'll come back around, put my sleeve back on, and we're done with that one. And the beauty of this design, it's short free, so you'll never have a fault, and every single one of these posts becomes a possible gate to move cows under. Really simple to build too, really cheap to build. This is probably one of the cheapest designs you can get, but still super dependable, and the longevity on it is incredible. It's like typically you would have to paint your corner posts and all of this. We've got them completely sleeved and covered. There's no way water can even get to the posts above ground. So the only way that this is ever gonna rot out is if this drill stem rusts out underground. Fiberglass posts are never gonna quit. Somebody might mow them, but that's a pretty effective fence line right there. So just a disclaimer as well, not all of them have that poly on there. Probably 90% of them do, but every now and then there's just a post that I know we will not have to move cows under ever. And so we just put the cotter pin, drill a hole 2 inches down from the top of that post. So this post is set at 34 inches. The wire still sits at 32 inches, and it's just hard fastened to that post. So if I do ever need to move it, I just have to either use insulated pliers or turn the fence off, pull that pin out, and then I can throw my sleeve on. But I don't ever foresee needing to put a pop-up on this post, so I leave those sleeves off. All right, so right here I've got a corner post. Again, this was not necessary, but we put these double U's in anyways. We have since quit doing that, but same design. It's 2 3/8 drill stem, 3-inch poly, nice galvanized cap on top. This one needs a zip screw run in here to keep it from blowing off and getting lost. We do it this way. Right here we've got our insulated wire turning this corner. That doesn't have to be insulated because there's no short possibility over here, but we're still doing insulated wire around these posts just so it doesn't ever come up over the top, or if this cap does ever come off, if it comes up and touches that stem inside of here, we're doing insulated. We never want to have to deal with these fences again. So we're going to build it once, build it right, and be done. Again, our goal is to get the best, simplest, easiest to use electric fence on this place that we can. Again, kind of going with that same idea on the corner post. This is one that we have done without the W's in here. So these wires are hot. They're not hot yet, but usually I bunch them all up and make it look pretty, but I haven't done that yet. So 36 inches to here, galvanized cap on top, and then this has got insulated wire run around the edge. The only reason I do that is because the only possible scenario for this to short out is if this cap touches this pipe. So if that touches and then you had a jumper wire run across and somehow it got up here, that's the only possible way that this fence line can short out. So I take a piece of insulated, put a bend in it to keep it away. So if the jacket was ripped or something, it still wouldn't touch. But even if it gets up here, there's no way for it to short because this is the extreme duty insulated wire rather than just a piece of high tensile. So that's the reasoning behind that. I don't see that ever happening. It's just kind of a safety precaution. But that's the only downside I see to this entire fence. And I have an idea on how to mitigate that even, but I don't really think it's going to be necessary. So if it's not necessary, I'm not going to try to fix it. We'll see. And if it is necessary, we'll revise our design and continue forward from there. But just tie it off here. You don't really need to jump this across because these wires are all going to be bunched up and touching. But just to make sure that we have excellent continuity and we're not having any short in this section, we've got a really good jumper wire right there. And that's how we'll do it on all of our corners and all of our this isn't a true corner, this is just a slight jag in the fence. But the other thing I wanted to mention too is we don't just run it around the post and let the post take the load. We tie it off each way. That's kind of just insurance as to if one part goes down, you're not fixing everything. And then the other thing I see is somebody will tie a double U on right here. You'll have a double U hanging out here and you'll just have one piece looped through that double U. I hate that too. I'll do a double U here and a double U here if I need to have two. If I need to turn a corner, I'm not just turning it with one double U and a piece of fence stretched around that double U. I'm tying it off, tensioning it to each double U. And it's just, if you're gonna do it right. Don't cut corners. Build it so it'll last.